Welcome to Must Have Classics, where we restore history one classic at a time. Welcome back to Must Have Classics. I'm Nick, and today we've got a nice little one episode video here on a project I just picked up a few minutes ago. In this project, I want to get it running, driving, and get it moving on down the road to someone else, but it's going to take some work to get it there. So this here is a 1958 Chevy Apache. Like I said, just picked this thing up. It had been sitting at a storage unit for the last 15 years. I have no idea how much longer it's been sitting besides that. So gonna be entertaining to see what's gonna take to get this thing up and going. Body wise, start on this side, that's not bad. Of course, it has the typical Chevy rust in the fender, but rocker's good. Cap corner has a little bit of rust, but door's solid. Front end looks pretty good. Of course, it has the white grille, white bumpers, air conditioning in the windshield. You know, get that nice airflow right to the driver. That looks pretty good. We'll get around to the interior in a minute. Bed, again, decent, nice and straight. Actually, has the big, nice rear bumper. Tailgate, to be honest, I haven't seen that nice of a tailgate in a while, especially this top edge. This inside's all straight. It just has the dent here and then one dent right there. Probably the straightest tailgate you'll ever find. And fender's pretty good. Hit here. This side, cab corner is bad. The door has some damage in it here. Rust in the bottom, and of course typical rust in the fender. But for what it is, let's just be honest, this truck has that like perfect patina. Has that perfect look to it, you know, sun bleached top of the fenders and all that. It's had, tell someone was sanding it, put some primer on it, was going to work on it at some point, but I say it's fine. I might even sand some of that down, make it look even better. But overall, like I said, kind of has that perfect patina look. I really like the look of that truck. Wheels and tires, of course, they're trashed. This one's even on backwards. Brakes were locked up when I pulled it out. Luckily the winch had enough power to get it up onto the trailer eventually after boosting the battery. But I think I'm going to put some of the Chevy like 80s, 70s, 80s rally wheels on it, because I have a set and this one's still 6 slug. So interior, move this exhaust pipe out of the way. Interior is not great, but it's all here. Like I said, doors a little bit of rust in the bottom, but the floors are perfect in this truck. And the blinkers added to it at some point. 3 on the tree. So I need to go get an ignition switch. And I'm just gonna wire just ignition in, and then we should have the button. Yeah. So pedal for the starter there. Tank behind the seat, I haven't checked it. I don't know what condition it's in, but I'll still probably pull it out, at least do the marble trick and plumb it back in so we can run it off the original tank. That's gonna, oh thank God. I was concerned that that wasn't gonna come out, and it definitely has gas in it. I could smell it just like that. But overall, I mean, decent truck we're working with. Probably gonna throw like a, you know, Mexican blanket on the seat or something to get all this old stuff off, you know, so it's not exposed in there. And then throw some foam on it, throw a blanket on it or something. Keep that look up that we're going with. And then let's go ahead and get to the important part up here. So drum roll, which you probably already figured it out with the 3-speed, but let me set the camera down there. And there we have the big old straight 6. So I'm actually kind of glad it's a straight 6. It's a lot easier to work with. I'll end up filing the points, seeing if the coil has power, and then luckily heater hoses have been wrapped off. Carburetor, works. I'm gonna clean that out because it's got stuff up in it before I try to run it, of course. I'll probably take a blower and blow a lot of that out. But I'm gonna pull the carburetor off at some point and go through it just so it will run a little bit better. Fuel pump, no idea if it's gonna be good, but I had checked this before I had ever bought or got the truck, and this thing just turns over beautifully. So, like, not even, you can hear the compression building up in it. So the rings are still seem okay. Like, make a full rotation here. Yeah. So, let me see here while we're underneath here. Double check everything else. So, like I said, even in there looks pretty good. Really hard to see there. Interesting why there's a hose or a closed clip on that. We'll figure that out in a minute. Battery should be pretty straightforward. So, and then generator, all that. So, should be a pretty straightforward truck to get running, hopefully. Again, biggest plan here is just to run a switch wiring for the new ignition switch, get power to the coil, and that, make sure we got deal here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these plugs. Ooh, nice, and those are actually pretty new Champion plugs. So no telling when the last time this truck ran. I'll probably pull the plugs, put a little bit of oil down there, and then see, sure, yeah, there's no way we have water in at this point, but yeah, and the radiator looks decent. Like I said, I think this truck will run without much problem. Clutch seems to be working okay. It goes into gear nice. I'm going to show you here. So you can hear it hit into every gear. Oh, there it goes in reverse. So that should be pretty straightforward. Nice easy hole in the dash to put. I'm just gonna put just some cheapy standard plugs, or not plugs, ignition switches in it. Door sags a little bit. Again, not too worried about it. However, after that, once it runs and drives, we'll do a few cosmetic things to it. I think I'm going to clear it just to make it look a little better, and then that way someone else can decide what they want to do with it. Might even throw some water on it later and see what it'll look like in clear, just for the shits and giggles of it all. Or, you know, weather may decide to come and wash it on its own. Don't know yet, but first off, let me see. I'm gonna have to go get some parts. I need to get an ignition switch, some oil, and I believe I have everything in the truck to get those plugs out, but I'll double check on the socket and see if I can get this thing to at least bark off a little bit. Well, I've got it here, and we're doing the introduction. Let's look up underneath here. Like I said, floors are in good shape. Now I understand why there's a muffler in the back. So it'll sound like a tractor when it fires up the first time, but we've got that muffler to throw on it. I've got some other ones at the shop I could put in it as well. So again, decent truck. You know, I think it'll be a good truck for somebody. I'm just not really a Chevy guy, and got this one trading to do some work on another car, so I'd rather just send it on down the way and get it going. So let me go get some parts, and then we'll check back in, put an ignition switch in, and put a battery on it, see if we can get this thing, see if the starter even engages, and see what it's going to take to get this thing to fire off. So be back in a matter of seconds. All right, so I went to Advanced Auto Parts, my favorite local parts store here, mostly because it's close, and they usually do a better job than some of the others do. Picked up this little switch, nothing fancy, just enough to get this in there. I'm just gonna run battery and ignition, no starter, because it has the push button start, which I'm pretty sure is still hooked up to be a push button start. I've never actually looked. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, still a push button start. So, use that. Yeah, not having a good start, or maybe problem number one if that starter is bad. But gonna run that. Just gotta run one to the battery power to the battery wire, or to the positive on the battery, and then I'll just run another ignition over to starter solenoid. So should be pretty straightforward and easy. So I can set this down. So I've got the wire, almost fell out of it, right here. This is going to be for the battery, and then I'll hook it up because I just got one color wire. I don't want to, trying to keep it low on cost at the moment, just to even see if it runs. If it does run, I'll go farther into detail on this thing, of course, but just to see it fire off, do this quick, cheap and simple. So yeah, get these connectors. Bought a whole big bunch from Amazon. Actually works pretty good. So let me see here, get this to battery. Ugh, dust. All right, let me go get my screwdriver. I forgot it. Oh, no I didn't, it's right here. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, definitely a cheap little switch. All right, now let me go grab my tools. I do have these wires. I'm not gonna run a yellow. I'll probably run that. Let me see here. Just set this right here. So, like I said, this red wire, run it right there. Come on, you can do it. There we go. That out of the way. So, as I have said in previous episodes, other episodes, I'm not trying to steal the thunder of the guys that do this all the time. That's really not my favorite thing to do. I'm really kind of a paint and body guy and like building them more than I do doing stuff like this. But as I've said before, it is nice to get out and do this kind of stuff every now and then. Let me grab another one of my connectors. Not sure this will work, but let me give it a shot. I think I can get it in there. Worst case, actually I'll probably just do that real quick. Just run it up underneath here and be done with it. So anyways, as I was saying, I don't want to take the thunder away from the guys that do this all the time. They are entertaining to watch, but it's not what I do. I would like to get it out and do it more often for personal pride, but I'm not really trying to do it that often. Get that ugly hot wire out of the way. Just run this up in here. So I've done this a few times. Like I said, this one here, it's been off the road. It was sitting at that storage unit for 15 years. My assumption it's probably been parked for 20, 25. I have a long story on how they ended up with the truck, but I'm not sure on how long it's been parked. But hopefully, with everything I'm seeing here, I don't think it's going to be terrible to get it to fire, but you never know. It's an old car. So, all right, that's done. So that gets us power there. Now let me see here. Yeah, let me run wire over to coil. Just so they got this. Jeez, let me get a closer look at that. So I got taped here into something, and then I've got that joint going there. This one that was going to the battery. What were they doing? This was going to the battery, was also providing power to the coil non-stop. Oh, that's a new one. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna do it simple. Like I said, I'll run another wire. I think I'll run my yellow wire next. Wire that one in, wire it to the coil, and then see what we're working with. I hadn't done this yet. Let's see here. Oh, glad I got oil. All right. So, throw some oil down it. Actually, I don't know, hole in the block somewhere. Yeah, that's out of oil. All right, so yeah, I'll throw oil down it. Probably have to go get another 4 quarts or 5 quarts. I'll get some oil down it, and then like I said, I'll pull these and get some oil down the cylinders. So let me check back in a minute when we put some oil in it. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and run this wire. There's no point really filming all that. So we'll be back in just a minute and let's see if we can get this engine to start turning over and see if we can get this have some spark. All right, so I've got some oil in it. Let's see, make sure that's settled now. Yeah, put 5 quarts of oil in it. So hopefully that's good. I've got the coil wired. I've got a battery on it. I had a problem a second ago when I hooked this up, that the pusher on the starter was engaging, but the starter did work because when I hooked that up, it started turning over. So that should be all good. I'm gonna go ahead and probably from here pull off that cap and see how the points are on it, and probably get Evan to turn the key on and see if that's working. Make sure we got power to it, see if we have spark there. From there, if we do, I'm trying to debate whether I want to go ahead and pull these off and put some oil down in them, or go ahead and just put a little bit of gas in it and see if it just barks for a second. Might do that. I'll still probably pull these off and then check them. We'll see if it just happens to just sputter at least. So let me see what we got working on here. So uh-oh, that's fine. Well, maybe we just hope we have spark. Oh, there it goes. It actually looks pretty decent in there. Let me see here. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
I have a little screwdriver inside the truck. Can you grab that for me real quick, please? So, it's nice to have a helper every now and then. Anyways, yeah, that looks all pretty new. Still check that, and I'll get the key turned on and check, see if we have spark. If we do, maybe it'll do something. We'll find out. So wait just a second here. Get my handy dandy little screwdriver. Thank you. All right, so just see condition of those. Doesn't look bad. All right, let me turn that key on. Let's see what we got. Oh, at least it came all the way out. Handy. All right, go around here. If you want the full 3D effect of how we got to do this, today's the day. All right, keys on. Let's see if we got some power. No, I have power to it, so doesn't matter if we got spark here. And we got spark. All right. Well, I think there's only one thing left to do. Lots of things left to do, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's see if I can get that set back on. Okay, so do I use brake cleaner, carb cleaner, or do I use actual gas? I'm a fan of using gas, just because. So give me just a second, let me get some gas in a Dr. Pepper bottle, because that's the only kind of bottles I use for this kind of stuff. And let's get some gas in this thing and see if it just chirps off for a second. All right, Dr. Pepper bottle here, ready to go. Let's go take one. Let me see if I can get a little bit of fuel down in here. You know, carburetor needs to be gone through. Okay. All right, let's see what it'll do. See if you can hit that starter button.
By the way, oh, the one on the floor is the starter button?
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Are you ready?
Yes, I've been waiting on you.
Am I holding or just pushing?
You'll push it down. Yeah, and then it should connect. Keep coming. Go, keep going. Uh-oh. All right, let's go. Take two. Let me see what if I can look at it.
I'm off.
Okay. Come on. All right, let me see here. It's working earlier. Oh. Okay, back outside. I think I can take something and knock that down. I just don't really shock the shit out of myself doing it. Go ahead and push that down.
Down.
Oh, it's so close. I wonder if I can do something like this. I know. I know. Keep holding. Okay, off. Always the little stuff. All right. Let's see if I can get a screwdriver in there and pop it. All right. Ignore my mess on the floor. Let's go back over here. Oh, you were working earlier. Oh, coil's getting hot. Okay, let's check back in when I figure out how to get this fixed. Well, I believe I have that fixed. Let me see. It's running. There we go.
Woo.
All right. She's a runner. She's a track star. Just kidding. All right. I'll put some more gas in it here. Actually started really well. It's kind of what I was hoping for.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good. Not terrible.
So definitely want to go through the carburetor. All right, let me see if I can get. You want to get in there?
I'm good.
All right. Let's see if she'll bark off again.
Okay.
Ready?
If it doesn't start, you can't blame me.
I will always blame you. Just kidding.
Ready?
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right. She runs though. So gotta work on getting that starter to keep hanging, stop hanging, but I'll probably just put a little dill on it or grease it up. Carburetor works. I don't want to keep going too much farther than this until I get this off to see. I'll get that wrench. Make sure it's not pumping fuel. Because I really don't want to deal with that if it is. If I have to, if that's not pumping fuel, I'll put a little clickety-clackety in here. But I'm really happy with how that's running. Until it's getting oil pressure built up, it has a little bit of lifter tick. But that I would call a success. So let me see what I'm going to do next. I think I'm going to get these fuel lines off, make sure it's not doing any of that, and let me fix this. So let me check back in just a second. It was a check-in on what stupid ideas we may have or whatever. I didn't want the old gas in that tank pumping through the engine, so I went ahead and cut that hard line coming from the pump, and then I ran my little tank here to it, so I know I have fuel coming there. It had fuel coming up into that line, so I believe, I mean, of course there's gravity in play there, but I believe the pump is working. If not, like I said, I'm just going to throw a little electric pump right there and be done with it. I do plan on pulling the tank out because it's easy enough on this one, doing the whole marble trick, cleaning it out, making sure it is good to go. So I went ahead and hooked this back up. It still has the problem where that is catching down there, but it's still running pretty good. So from here, I want to go ahead and put some gas down in the carb again and see if it'll pump up that gas, and just by chance maybe it'll sit here and run and idle on its own. It's been one idle on its own a little bit here and there. Get some gas up in there so that at least fill that float up, or bowl up rather. So see if that'll let it crank up. I may have to hit that a few times in there. The throttle seems to be hooked up, so it should work. But let's just see if it'll fire up on its own and sit there and just idle on its own here. Let's see. Got to get up in here. Got a nice box in here, so I don't have to sit on that nasty seat. All right, let me sit this here for a second. The little ignition switch is not the best, but it's getting the job done. All right, let's see, does the throttle work? Sure seems like it. All right, it's gonna take two people again. Hit this thing to run until I figure out how to fix that. All right, help is coming, as she said. So, let me see. It's also gonna take someone running this up here just to get it to run off. Also, I did put water in it. Of course, it needs an upper radiator hose. Probably needs a thermostat as well, but at least it's got something in there to do something. Let me see, that choke is locked up too, which is one problem. So, ready when you are.
Ready?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Off. All right. Again. Again. See if you can run about half throttle when it fires up so I can hit that off. Go ahead. All right, stop. Stop. Get some more gas down it. Give me a second. All right. Go ahead. Okay, that doesn't want to do anything. Well, let me figure it out. I know we're killing the battery, but seems like it's not getting any spark anymore. Let me see if we can get this out. Okay, so some voodoo work later, I guess. I actually did some rigging to get that starter to stop engaging. I have a wire wrapped around it. After that, pump is working. It's sitting here running on its own, just sitting there idling away. Crazy thing is that looks like the generator is working. I could see it moving around a minute ago, and you kind of see it there. It's wiggling around, and the craziest thing, turn the lights on. No, horn doesn't work. But I turned the lights on, and even the headlights work on this thing. Does it have high beams, I wonder? Surely not. Even the high beams work. So, God, this has been almost way easier than I thought it would be. Let's see if it'll rev up some. Still got a little bit of electric tick, but it should work out. As far as I know, we have a little pressure. Yeah, oil pressure gauge is working. So it's running around like 40 pounds or so, which isn't terrible at idle. Of course, with that blackened muffler, you see, it looks like. I am pretty dang happy with that. So it's getting kind of late. Clouds are starting to roll in a little bit more. So that's going to do it for today. Tomorrow I'm going to get out here and I'm going to pull that tank and get that out, get it cleaned and get it plumbed so it runs on its own. And then I have no idea about brakes. They were locked up when I picked it up. Well, we might have brakes. So I might have to run into Rawls, get some wheels and tires to throw on this thing. And it might, just might be driving around the block tomorrow. So, of course, for me, it's overnight. For you, it's a blink of an eye, and it's actually starting to rain on us. All right, we'll be back on this tomorrow. Well, day 2 back on this 58 Chevy, and as you can probably see by the masking tape on the chrome, right now I think I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some clear on this thing. I went and picked up some semi-gloss, just spray cans, nothing fancy. If someone else wants to do something better, they can later down the road, but right now I just want to get it to look a little better, get a little gloss to it, see maybe how much better this patina look will do. Never done this before. I've always done full paint jobs. I've never done something patinaed like this, so it's gonna be an interesting time. Like I said, just simple masking that up. I already hooked up the battery again today and literally just pumped it 3 times and it fired right off, didn't even need to be choked. So that engine is running great. Fuel system is working great. Again, I need to get the fuel tank out, but it's a nice day, so I want to go ahead and work on just doing this. And I'll get the fuel tank out later, probably tomorrow, and get that plumbed, so that'll work. Wheels and tires, I'm gonna see, pretty sure this is not a match because I don't see the holes, so I don't have the match for all these, but I'd like to see if any of these will at least hold air to get it to do something. I did already check the clutch, it's working, but the master cylinder seems to be locked up solid. So don't know what I'm going to do about that yet, but I want to go ahead and put some clear on this thing. So what I got here, again, super cheap, simple, some Rust-Oleum. Heaven wanted that to help, and then I got some Scotch-Brite. Normally I would use red, but parts or the paint store is closed, so I just went and got some gray. So I'm just going to scuff it up a little bit with the gray, wipe it down or blow it off or something, and then just spray some clear over it and see what it looks like. So all we can do is learn, and let's get on this thing and see what we can get this thing to look like. So I may have gotten ahead of myself a little bit. Ooh, sorry, spray paint. But I have already done most of the truck. I still need to do another coat on the hood, and then I didn't have enough to do the roof, but everything else is done, and pretty nice actually. It's got that nice look to it. Like I said, semi-gloss, nothing too crazy. I could use another coat on this fender over here, and then I still have this messed up over here, so easy enough to rip that off. So yeah, first I'm doing this. That's a pretty good looking truck. So I think this was the perfect candidate to do this to it. I wish there wasn't the primer on it. Probably would have helped a little bit, but overall, can't complain too much. So that'll do it for today. Working out here, we've got to go to a concert. So tomorrow we will work on wheels, tires. I also need to work on that gas tank and clean up that seat and do something about it, because that's not really going to work out. I have a quick little plan for that. I'm going to get rid of all this, throw it away, and then throw something in there, make it look pretty good, and then clean up everything in here. Probably just take a water hose and rinse it out at this point and get rid of some of the stuff on the floor. So should be pretty simple. So that right there, still drying a little bit, but looks pretty good. So just getting that look at it from the background. That semi-gloss I think was the right call. So on to tomorrow, we'll keep working on a few things, knocking out a few things. Next up, like I said, will be fuel tank, seat, interior, and then we'll work on wheels, tires, brakes. So see you back in a couple seconds. Well, it's actually been a couple days later than the last time we worked on it when we cleared it. I've got it back here at my shop, and I need to get these wheels and tires off to get the other ones on. Now what I've got over here is these old rally wheels off the Blazer. Should have the right bolt pattern. So they've got decent tires on them. So I'm going to use these on it. And so that's what I'm working on right now, is getting these old ones off of it so I can get those new ones on it. Should be pretty easy getting these off. Now one of those wheels is either on that trailer. That one there has no lug nuts on it, and I have strapped it to the fence, tried to pull it off. I've torched it, heated it, I've put a pry bar behind it, I beat it with a hammer, and I cannot get that wheel off that trailer. So that one's going to wait for right now, but I want to go ahead and get the other wheels on it. I've got one tire that will hold air on this truck, and this is that right front over here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tire aired up, get the other three switched out, so I can get this thing off the trailer. I'm going to hook up my tank and my battery again, crank it up, and just drive it off the trailer. From there, I'm going to go ahead and clean that tank out hopefully today, get that plumbed in so it'll run on its own, and then I need to figure out that master cylinder problem. So we'll see how far we get on that. but I do need to get that done. I also need to finish clearing the roof and the hood. I've debated just spraying another Dillo Clear all over the whole thing, put some flattener and some regular clear, because you can see I've got like some tiger striping because the wind was picking up that day. So it's not perfect, but that sheen does look really good on this. I don't know if I should do a whole gloss clear on it or not. I'll figure that out in the near future, but like I said, let's get these wheels and tires done first, get those switched out, and then see if we can get this thing off the trailer finally. All right, got those 3 wheels and tires on, and I have to say it looks pretty good with those on it. I do kind of like that style. The other one on this right front does not hold air as much as I thought it would. So I'll either see, yeah, it's already gone flat. I'll either see if I can get one of the other ones to hold enough air to get it on it, or I may just roll it off with the flat, because at least with the flat, it'll, you know, slow me down with no brakes coming off the trailer. But I've got my gas hooked up again with my little tank, got it bungee corded on, got the battery hooked up. So let's go ahead and get up inside it and see if it'll fire up again. And if it will, then I'll get the ramps put out and see if I can roll this thing off the trailer. Let me get up in here, get my seat right spot here. All right. So it doesn't roll, so that's good. Get the key turned on. Set the camera down here. All right, key turned on. Then pump it a few times. Like nothing. There it is, just chugging along again. So again, super nice little truck for what we're going to do. I'm really looking forward to seeing all this cleaned up. I'd like to get that done pretty soon. Yeah, sounds good. So let me see. All right, make sure I'm in neutral here. Yep. Yep. All right. Now, let's see if this thing will come off the trailer. Well, how about that? First time to move under its own power in at least probably 15 years. My assumption is closer to 20. Kind of glad that tire was flat, because that was not a fun little trek down the trailer. But so I think I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get one of these other tires to hold air and get it on there for now. And then I'll see if I can get the other wheel off. But like I said, first time to move under its own power in 20 years, and does really good. The transmission is pretty good. The linkage is definitely worn out. It took a couple tries to get it in reverse. Had to go up into first, move it forward, then it went up in this reverse. So not the end of the world, typical little truck. So let me see if I can get these wheels situated, and then let's see if it'll move a little bit further than this. So let me get these wheels figured out, and then we'll drive it again. Well, there comes a point in every build where you have to decide, am I willing to do something stupid to give yourself more motivation? And the answer in that at this point is yes. Yes, I am willing to do something stupid. So I got another wheel on it. I remembered I had this spare sitting in the shop, So I pulled it and put it on there. Still kind of low, which is fine. I still want something to kind of slow me down, but I really want to see this thing move more than just off a trailer on its own. So luckily, small town, not very busy. Of course, I say as a car drives by, but I think I'm going to see if I can get this thing to at least putter down the street a little bit, putter back in here. Not going to go fast, obviously, because I don't think I have brakes. I'm going to try and just see this thing move underneath its, you know, own power for the first time in a long time. So I'll go ahead and get up underneath here. See if I can get this switch turned on. There we go. Get my handy dandy box a little better. Now let's just see what this thing will do. Also had a problem earlier. Realized that I don't have a door handle in here, so it was fun getting out earlier, but it'll be fine. Still, it gets up and runs good. Let's see, do I have brakes? Oh, not a chance. Oh, that master cylinder is locked up. All right, it's gonna be a short little trip, but we are running and driving for the first time under its own power. Not too shabby. Speedometer work? I doubt it. That emergency brake works. Nope, not a chance on that either. All right, let me just. All right. Sorry for the bad camera view. Too shabby. Rides like an old Chevy. Steering wheel's way off. But she's driving on her own. So, let's see if I can get this thing back up in there. Park it over here behind my Escape. I consider that a success. Oh, this power steering does not exist. Come on, Art, need power steering. Stop. It didn't stop. All right, we're good. So, how about that first drive in whoever knows how many years? Now, see what I'm talking about? Getting into reverse here. There's first. There it goes. Nope. Second, third. Nope, and it died. Uh-oh. There it goes. So, it's almost like you just gotta hope to catch it right. So, oh well. I'll do it. Let's see. Now, I'm motivated, you know. See if I can get the seat out of it, get this tank out of it. I'm gonna take a water hose and wash this thing out because it's kind of nasty in here. So, on to the next thing. Let's see if we can get this interior cleaned out. Well, we're back for another beautiful West Texas day. It's not hot yet, but it probably will be later. This is day like 4 or 5, I don't even know anymore, of working on this truck. I'm trying to get this thing close to being done today as I can. So today's checklist is get the fuel tank back in it, get it plumbed in, and then work on brakes and get the other wheel on. And then later today, tonight, I'm going to work on seats because I have something that we picked up yesterday. I'm going to do a quick, simple seat cover on these things. But here's the interior after I got it cleaned out yesterday. I need to go ahead and pull this seat out eventually. I just didn't want to get up underneath and do it yesterday with the way it was. So I need to get this out so I can get the new cover on it. I might be able to do it the way it is. I just don't know yet. I'll figure that out. But we got some material, so we're just going to throw some foam down over the springs and then put the material over it, just fold it over and then hog tie it in. Not going to do anything nice fancy. The next owner can do that. This is something they can at least get into and enjoy. Dash cleaned up decently. I'm kind of debating painting this up here flat black just to make it look a little bit nicer in here, because right now it's a little worse for wear. And then again, like I was saying, the floors are perfect in this thing. Same one down here in the steps. Of course, we have the problems down there. Fuel tank came out pretty easily. Of course, the bolt stepped off. I'll get it set back in there, get that plugged in, and put the wire back on it. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the tank over here. So I went ahead and flushed it out, did the marble trick. It was actually pretty good. I was surprised. I think this tank has been replaced at some point. At least it's been painted silver because the sending unit is all silver. So I got all that done. This tire went flat overnight, so I'll get that fixed. Like I said, I need to get this tire done. And same over here. Like I said, you can see some, pitting here. I might pour 15 over that or something just to help that along. That, like I said, dash is decent. I don't know if I should paint that black or not. Of course, we know it needs a windshield, and pretty straightforward. It does smell better in here. If you had that smell-o-vision, it's wafted to you to see. But now it smells better in here. I put some degreaser down in it and rinsed it all out with that, just to help the smell of mouse poop and all that. So all in all, pretty happy with how this is coming out. So let me get this tank in, get it hooked up. Up here in the engine bay with that tank, I'm actually going to have to see if I get this hood open. There we go. Because of course I cut that hard line, which is fine. I'm going to cut it back a little bit further and put an inline fuel filter in there, just so we can see how dirty that tank is going to get. I prefer having inline fuel filters, so it should be easy enough. Kind of rinsed out the engine bay yesterday too, so it looks a little bit better. So engine could use a nice cleanup, but I mean, it is what it is. It's nearly a 60-year-old truck, so sorry, no, nearly a 70-year-old truck. But math is not mathing today. So like I said, we'll get this thing cleaned up a little bit more, get that tank in there, and this should be ready to really drive better. The master cylinder is still a concern. I'll try to get that jacked up and at least see if I can get it out. I might see if I can just break it loose. I might also have something else that'll work. I don't know. Being a Chevy, I usually only have Ford parts, or sometimes I have Jeep parts left over. So we'll see how that goes. But all I can do is get going. So let's get this fuel tank back in, get it plumbed in, and see if we can get it to run off the tank now. Well, the truck is starting to look a little bit more put together. I've got the gas tank put back in. I've got it plumbed in. I've also finally got the master cylinder to break loose. So I've got fluid in it. It's finally starting to feed a little bit through. So I think I'm just going to let that sit overnight and see if it'll loosen up those O-rings and everything. I had to take a hammer to it and then finally got it to break loose. Sure, the O-rings will probably toast inside there, so I might at least pull it off and rebuild it. But at least it is working. Put the switch up in the dash, so now we can just run that off of there. And then, like I said, finish getting that fuel line plumbed. So I've got the inline filter here to see if it's pumping. And then I had a weird thing. So I know this thing was pumping fuel out of the tank because I had fuel jumping out of here when I was first trying to get it to run. But it is the rubber line between the tank and the hard line was actually torn. So I don't know if that was just a bunch of residual in the lines or what, but I'm hoping, or maybe it broke afterwards, which is a possibility. So I've got that fixed now. So I need to put a battery on this thing, make sure it's going to pump fuel from the tank. I've got the tank, some gas in it, but I've got to go get some other cars out for a parade that we've got to do. So overall, truck is coming along. So next up, I need to get these seats done and then see about putting a battery back on it. I don't have my spare battery. I've been pulling it off my Mustang for all the runs I've done on this thing. So pull that off, and then I need to get this line, this hose, and I think I have one in the shop that'll work. So keep listing off little things. Right now, then we're down to brakes, battery, hose, and seats. So, and of course, I need to get that tire done as well. So keep moving on. We'll be back tomorrow, or possibly later tonight, start working on those seats and get those covered. Have something special in mind for those, as I said earlier. So gonna keep moving on, see what else we can come across. But overall, coming across pretty good. I already had someone try and offer a trade on it, so I've got to consider how much farther I want to go on it. But so far, I'd really like to at least drive this thing with some brakes and running on its own fuel system without it running on a tank in the engine bay. So this video will not end until we can at least putter it around. I don't know if we'll have brakes by the end of this. So we'll get moving on the seats, get those back in, and then get closer and closer to driving this thing. So let's get on these seats. Well, it's another, yet again, next day. I got that fuel tank back in, got it running off its own tank finally. I had to clean out the sending unit because it was pretty dirty, but got fuel running through it. It's sitting there purring away. Also going to show the seat material that we have for it, what we're kind of doing with it. So typical kind of Mexican blanket style, just threw some foam down, got this tucked down. We're about to do the back of the seat next, so we'll get that in there. But the brakes still won't bleed. I meant to order a master cylinder, I think, at this point, so that's going to pretty much stop that in the tracks. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing moved and to my for sale corner over there. Go ahead and try to see if I can find someone interested in it. I've had a few offers on it already the way it is, so you might see more of this truck, but I don't know yet. Let me get this thing moved around. We'll drive it one more time. I'll hand the camera over, and then we'll get that seat in, and then it's pretty much gonna have to be it. Again, from where we started, we've got a truck that runs, moves on its own. It doesn't stop, but who needs brakes? So lots of progress done on it already. So let me get this thing moved around, and then we'll get that seat done and kind of do one last once over it. So let's see if we can get this thing moved real quick.
think this means I might have to stop the truck. Nope. Okay, never mind. He's good.
Not too shabby. Have to run over a shredder to stop, but no big deal.
Yeah, I told them that as soon as you put it in reverse, I might have to stop the truck. Thankfully, I didn't.
So, now we can finish up these seats and get this thing done. So, let's get to work on this back seat now. Well, the seat is done. It's still got to be bolted down. I hadn't done that yet. I got to get some help to set it down and find the holes. But here's what we kind of did with it. Just simple material, put some foam down. I've sat in, it's pretty comfortable. So this here, just did a quick, you know, zip tie it to the back kind of thing. So I never really like to show this either. Truck is showing 75,000 miles on it. So there's the final walk around on it. So pretty good truck. So for reference, we've spent wheels and tires for free, because I already had those. Of course, this one's going flat. I've got $25 in the material in the seats, and I've got probably $120 in parts from the parts store, like that new ignition switch, oil, fuel filter, stuff like that. So super budget build, getting this thing back on the road. Well, at least to run and you putter around. Still got to get a master cylinder for it, so you might see that in an upcoming episode to finish it off. But for right now, that will do it for this one. So comment down below if you want to see more content like this on these, you know, revivals per se. And as of right now, the truck is on the market. If it's still for sale, there will be information in the description below. So let me know if you're interested in it. It would be a nice truck to build, or, you know, get going as it is. And check out some other videos if you haven't. Got like the Cougars, Buick. Got a big video coming out on the Fairlane very soon. Working on the last few things on it. And then more videos coming out on the 49 Chevy. And so more content coming out, but check us out on Facebook at Must Have Classics Rawls, R-A-L-L-S, Instagram Must Have Classics. I'm gonna start posting more content there pretty soon as well. Gonna take a break from that, and we'll see you back in the next one. Remember, get those classics, enjoy them as much as you can.